Torah portion number 26. This week's Torah portion is titled Shemini, which translates to eighth. Torah is taken from Leviticus chapter 9, verse 1 through chapter 11, verse 47. The Tanakh is from 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 1 through chapter 7, verse 17. And the apostolic portion is taken from the book of Matthew, chapter 3, verses 11 through 17. Leviticus 9. And on the 8th day it came to be that Moshe called Aharon and his sons and the elders of Israel. And he said to Aharon, Take for yourself a young bull as a sin offering, and a ram as a burnt offering, a perfect one, and bring them before Yahovah. And speak to the children of Israel, saying, Take a male goat as a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both a year old, perfect ones, as a burnt offering, and a bull and a ram as peace offerings, to slaughter before Yahovah, and a grain offering mixed with oil. For today Yahovah shall appear to you. And they took what Moshe commanded before the tent of meeting, and all the congregation drew near and stood before Yahovah. And Moshe said, This is the word which Yahovah commanded you to do, so that the esteem of Yahovah appears before you. And Moshe said to Aharon, Go to the altar, and prepare your sin offering and your burnt offering, and make atonement for yourself and for the people, and make the offering of the people, and make atonement for them, as Yahovah has commanded. So Aharon came near to the altar and slaughtered the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself. And the sons of Aharon brought the blood to him, and he dipped his finger in the blood, and put it on the horns of the altar, and poured the blood at the base of the altar. And the fat and the kidneys, and the appendage on the liver of the sin offering he burned on the altar, as Yahovah had commanded Moshe. And the flesh and the skin he burned with fire outside the camp. And he slaughtered the burnt offering, and the sons of Aharon presented to him the blood, which he sprinkled on the altar all around. And they presented the burnt offering to him, with its pieces and head, and he burned them on the altar. And he washed the entrails and the legs, and burned them with the burnt offering on the altar. And he brought the people's offering, and took the goat, which was the sin offering for the people, and slaughtered it, and made it a sin offering, like the first one. And he brought the burnt offering, and made it according to the right ruling. He also brought the grain offering, and filled his hand with it, and burned it on the altar, besides the burnt offering of the morning. And he slaughtered the bull and the ram as peace offerings, which were for the people. And Aharon's sons presented to him the blood, which he sprinkled on the altar all around. And the fat from the bull and the ram, the fat tail and the covering and the kidneys, and the appendage on the liver. And they placed the fat on the breast, and he burned the fat on the altar. But the breast and the right thigh Aharon waved as a wave offering before Yahovah, as Moshe had commanded. Aharon then lifted up his hand toward the people and blessed them, and came down from making the sin offering, and the burnt offering, and the peace offerings. And Moshe and Aharon went into the tent of meeting, and came out and blessed the people, and the esteem of Yahovah appeared to all the people. And fire came out from before Yahovah, and consumed the burnt offering and the fat on the altar. And all the people saw, and cried aloud, and fell on their faces. Leviticus 10. And Nadab and Abihu, the sons of Aharon, each took his fire holder and put fire in it, and put incense on it, and brought strange fire before Jehovah, which he had not commanded them. And fire came out from Jehovah and consumed them, and they died before Jehovah. Then Moshe said to Aharon, This is what Jehovah spoke, saying, By those who come near me, let me be set apart, and before all the people let me be esteemed. And Aharon was silent. And Moshe called to Mishael and to Elzaphan, the sons of Uzziel, the uncle of Aharon, and said to them, Come near, take your brothers from before the set-apart place out of the camp. So they came near, and took them by their long shirts out of the camp, as Moshe had said. And Moshe said to Aharon, and to Eleazar, and to Ithamar his sons, Do not unbind your heads, nor tear your garments, lest you die, and wrath come upon all the people. But let your brothers, all the house of Israel, bewail the burning which Jehovah has kindled. And do not go out from the door of the tent of meeting, lest you die, for the anointing oil of Jehovah is upon you. And they did according to the word of Moshe. And Jehovah spoke to Aharon, saying, Do not drink wine or strong drink, you nor your sons with you, when you go into the tent of meeting, lest you die, a law forever throughout your generations. So as to make a distinction between the set apart and the profane, and between the unclean and the clean, and to teach the children of Israel all the laws which Jehovah has spoken to them by the hand of Moshe. And Moshe spoke to Aharon, and to Eleazar and Ithamar, his sons who were left, Take the grain offering that is left over from the offerings made by fire to Jehovah, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, for it is most set apart. And you shall eat it in a set-apart place, because it is yours by law, and your sons by law, of the offerings made by fire to Jehovah, for so I have been commanded. And the breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the contribution you eat in a clean place, you and your sons and your daughters with you, for they are yours by law, and your sons by law, which are given from the slaughterings of peace offerings of the children of Israel. The thigh of the contribution and the breast of the wave offering they bring with the offerings of fat made by fire, to bring as a wave offering before Jehovah. And it shall be yours and your sons with you, by a law forever, as Jehovah has commanded. And Moshe diligently looked for the goat of the sin offering, and saw it was burned up. And he was wroth with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aharon who were left, saying, Why have you not eaten the sin offering in a set-apart place, since it is most set apart? And Elohim has given it to you to bear the crookedness of the congregation, to make atonement for them before Jehovah. See, its blood was not brought inside the set-apart place. You should have eaten it without fail in a set-apart place, as I have commanded. And Aharon said to Moshe, See, today they have brought their sin offering and their burnt offering before Jehovah, and matters like these have come to me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been right in the eyes of Jehovah? And when Moshe heard that, it was good in his eyes. Leviticus 11. And Jehovah spoke to Moshe and to Aharon, saying to them, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, These are the living creatures which you do eat among all the beasts that are on the earth. Whatever has a split hoof completely divided, chewing the cud, among the beasts, that you do eat. Only these you do not eat among those that chew the cud, or those that have a split hoof. The camel, because it chews the cud but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the rabbit, because it chews the cud but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the hare, because it chews the cud but does not have a split hoof, it is unclean to you. And the pig, though it has a split hoof, completely divided, yet does not chew the cud, it is unclean to you. Their flesh you do not eat, and their carcasses you do not touch. They are unclean to you. These you do eat of all that are in the waters. Anyone that has fins and scales in the water, in the seas or in the rivers, that you do eat. But all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, all that move in the waters, or any living creatures which is in the waters, they are an abomination to you. They are an abomination to you. Of their flesh you do not eat, and their carcasses you abominate. All that have not fins or scales in the water is an abomination to you. And these you do abominate among the birds. They are not eaten. They are an abomination, the eagle and the vulture and the black vulture, and the hawk and the falcon after its kind, every raven after its kind, and the ostrich and the nighthawk and the seagull and the hawk after its kind, and the little owl and the fisher owl and the great owl, and the white owl and the pelican and the carrion vulture, and the stork, the heron after its kind, and the hoopoe and the bat. All flying insects that creep on all fours is an abomination to you. Only these you do eat of every flying insect that creeps on all four, those which have jointed legs above their feet, with which to leap on the earth. These of them you do eat, the locust after its kind, and the destroying locust after its kind, and the cricket after its kind, and the grasshopper after its kind. But all other flying insects which have 4 feet is an abomination to you. And by these you are made unclean. Anyone touching the carcass of any of them is unclean until evening. And anyone picking up part of the carcass of any of them has to wash his garments, and shall be unclean until evening. Every beast that has a split hoof, not completely divided, or does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Anyone who touches their carcass is unclean. And whatever goes on its paws, among all the creatures that go on all fours, those are unclean to you. Anyone who touches their carcass is unclean until evening. And he who picks up their carcass has to wash his garments, and shall be unclean until evening. They are unclean to you. And these are unclean to you among the creeping creatures that creep on the earth, the mole and the mouse and the tortoise after its kind, and the gecko and the land crocodile and the sand reptile, and the sand lizard, and the chameleon. These are unclean to you among all that creep. Anyone who touches them when they are dead becomes unclean until evening. And what any of them in its dead state falls upon becomes unclean, whether it is any wooden object, or garment, or skin, or sack. Any object in which work is done, it is put in water, and it shall be unclean until evening, then it shall be clean. Any earthen vessel in which any of them falls, whatever is in it becomes unclean, and you shall break it. Any of the food which might be eaten, on which water comes, becomes unclean, and any drink which might be drunk from it becomes unclean. And on whatever any of their carcass falls becomes unclean. An oven or cooking range, it is broken down, they are unclean, and are unclean to you. But a fountain or a well, a collection of water, is clean, but whatever touches their carcass is unclean. And when any of their carcass falls on any planting seed which is to be sown, it is clean. But when any water is put on the seed, and any part of such carcass falls on it, it is unclean to you. And when any of the beasts which are yours for food dies, he who touches its carcass becomes unclean until evening. And he who eats of its carcass has to wash his garments, and shall be unclean until evening. And he who picks up its carpet has to wash his garments, and shall be unclean until evening. And every creeping creature that creeps on the earth is an abomination. It is not eaten. Whatever crawls on its stomach, and whatever goes on all fours, and whatever has many feet among all creeping creatures that creep on the earth, these you do not eat, for they are an abomination. Do not make yourselves abominable with any creeping creature that creeps, and do not make yourselves unclean with them, lest you be defiled by them. For I am Jehovah your Elohim, and you shall set yourselves apart, and you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. And do not defile yourselves with any creeping creature that creeps on the earth. For I am Jehovah, who is bringing you up out of the land of Mitzrayim to be your Elohim. And you shall be set apart, for I am set apart. This is the Torah of the beast and the birds and every living creature that moves in the waters, and of every creature that creeps on the earth, to make a distinction between the unclean and the clean, and between the living creature that is eaten and the living creature that is not eaten. Second Samuel 6:1 through 7:17. Now David again gathered all the chosen men of Israel, 30,000. And David rose up and went with all the people who were with him from Baal Yehudah to bring up from there the ark of Elohim, that is called by the name Jehovah of hosts, who dwells between the cherubim. And they placed the ark of Elohim on a new wagon, and brought it from the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill. And Uzzah and Io, the sons of Abinadab, were leading the new wagon. And they brought it from the house of Abinadab, which was on the hill, with the ark of Elohim. And Io was walking before the ark. And David and all the house of Israel were dancing before Jehovah, with all instruments of fir wood, and with lyres, and with harps, and with tambourines, and with sistrums, and with cymbals. And when they came to the threshing floor of Nakon, Uzzah reached out toward the ark of Elohim, and took hold of it, for the oxen stumbled. And the wrath of Jehovah burned against Uzzah, and Elohim smote him there for the fault, and he died there by the ark of Elohim. And David was displeased because Jehovah had broken out against Uzzah, and he called the name of the place Peretz Uzzah until this day. And David was afraid of Jehovah on that day, and said, How shall the ark of Jehovah come to me? And David would not move the ark of Jehovah with him into the city of David. But David turned it aside to the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite. And the ark of Jehovah remained in the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite 3 months. And Jehovah blessed Obed-Edom and all his house. And it was reported to sovereign David, saying, Jehovah has blessed the house of Obed-Edom and all that he has, because of the ark of Elohim. David then went and brought up the ark of Elohim from the house of Obed-Edom to the city of David with rejoicing. And it came to be, when those buried bearing the ark of Jehovah, had gone 6 steps, that he slaughtered bulls and fatted sheep. And David danced before Jehovah with all his might. And David was wearing a linen shoulder garment. Thus David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of Jehovah with shouting and with the sound of the ram's horn. And it came to be, when the ark of Jehovah came into the city of David, that Michal, daughter of Shaul, looked through a window and saw sovereign David leaping and dancing before Jehovah, and she despised him in her heart. So they brought the ark of Jehovah in, and set it in its place in the midst of the tent that David had pitched for it. And David brought burnt offerings before Jehovah, and peace offerings. And when David had finished bringing burnt offerings and peace offerings, he blessed the people in the name of Jehovah of hosts. And he apportioned to all the people, to all the crowd of Israel, from man even to women, to each one a loaf of bread and a measure and a cake of raisins. And all the people left, each one to his house. And David returned to bless his household. And Michal, the daughter of Shaul, came out to meet David and said, How esteemed was the sovereign of Israel today, uncovering himself in the eyes of the female servants of his servants, as one of the foolish ones shamelessly uncovers himself. So David said to Michal, Before Jehovah, who chose me instead of your father and all his house, to appoint me ruler over the people of Jehovah, over Israel. So I danced before Jehovah. And I shall be even more slight than this, and shall be humble in my own eyes. But as for the female servants of whom you have spoken, by then I am esteemed. And Michal, the daughter of Shaul, had no children to the day of her death. And it came to be, when the sovereign was dwelling in his house, and Jehovah had given him rest from all his enemies all around, that the sovereign said to Nathan the prophet, See now, I am dwelling in a house of cedar, but the ark of Elohim dwells within curtains. And Nathan said to the sovereign, Go, do all that is in your heart, for Jehovah is with you. And it came to be that night that the word of Jehovah came to Nathan, saying, Go and say to my servant David, Thus said Jehovah, Would you build a house for me to dwell in? For I have not dwelt in a house since the time that I brought the children of Israel up from Mitzrayim, even to this day, but have moved about in a tent and in a dwelling place. Wherever I have walked with all the children of Israel, have I ever spoken a word to anyone from the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to shepherd my people Israel, saying, Why have you not built me a house of cedar? And now say to my servant David, Thus said Jehovah of hosts, I took you from the pasture, from following the flock, to be a ruler over my people, over Israel. And I have been with you wherever you have gone, and have cut off all your enemies from before you, and have made you a great name, like the name of the great ones who are on the earth. And I shall appoint a place for my people Israel, and plant them, and they shall dwell in a place of their own, and no longer be afraid. Neither shall the children of wickedness oppress them again, as at the first. Even from the day I appointed rulers over my people Israel, and have caused you to rest from all your enemies. And Jehovah has declared to you that he would make you a house. When your days are filled, and you rest with your fathers, I shall raise up your seed after you, who comes from your inward parts, and shall establish his reign. He does build a house for my name, and I shall establish the throne of his reign forever. I am to be his father, and he is my son. If he does perversely, I shall I shall reprove him with the rod of men and with the blows of the sons of men. But my kindness does not turn aside from him, as I turned it aside from Shaul, whom I removed from before you. And your house and your reign are to be steadfast forever before you. Your throne is established forever. According to all these words, and according to all this vision, so Nathan spoke to David. Matthew 3:11 through 17. I indeed immerse you in water unto repentance, but he who is coming after me is mightier than I, whose sandals I am not worthy to bear. He shall immerse you in the set-apart spirit and fire. His winnowing fork is in his hand, and he shall thoroughly cleanse his threshing floor, and gather his wheat into the storehouse. But the chaff he shall burn with unquenchable fire. Then Yeshua came from Galilee to Yohanan at the Jordan to be immersed by him. But Yohanan was hindering him, saying, I need to be immersed by you, and you come to me. But Yeshua answering said to him, Permit it now, for thus it is fitting for us to fill all righteousness. Then he permitted him. And having been immersed, Yeshua went up immediately from the water, and see, the heavens were opened, and he saw the Spirit of Elohim descending like a dove and coming upon him. And see, a voice out of the heavens saying, This is my Son, the Beloved, in whom I did delight.